like to welcome everybody here and thank you for the joining on this. Actually, it was quite raining this morning, so maybe that would help to get more people in the meeting. I would like to also thanks to the colleagues from EMBL for taking time to present all these opportunities that EMBL can offer. And I would like to remind that today's event is organized within the framework of the ERDF-funded project, and this project is aimed at strengthening Latvia's integration into European research infrastructures. And one of the key objectives of this project is to establish and develop the EMBL contact point in Latvia that we have now successfully created. And Randy is here representing also this contact point, and also thanks to her, we have organized this meeting as well. So, and then I guess this is the first seminar in this setting, in this particular setting, because I remember that there was already introductory seminar where indeed colleagues from EMBL came to Latvia and presented this already, I don't know, some time ago. But this seminar then is one of the first in series of events that we would like to really introduce the Latvian research community to the wide range of the EMBL programs, services, training opportunities, research infrastructure, and collaboration possibilities. And from my own experience, I can strongly encourage everyone to really explore these opportunities. Indeed, we have had a long and very successful collaboration already. One of the most important outcomes of this is the Integral Health teaming project that has been recently approved that we will in the future continue to work on and really hope to get established a good infrastructure here and create a new scientific results. Actually, what actually impressed me for all the time I've been contacting and working together with EMBL is that not only that, of course, EMBL is the world-leading research institution in molecular biology, but that there is also dedicated teams that actively support researchers in different, identifying different opportunities for collaboration, developing project ideas, and so on and so forth. And there is a lot of support that EMBL can provide also in that sense. So that, and therefore, I really encourage everybody to take advantage of today's presentations, ask questions, establish new contacts, and so on. So to really find available partners for the future research. So, and with that, I would like to then hand over to EMBL colleagues and hope we will have a very productive seminar today.
Thank you, Yanis. Thank you very much for this really nice introduction. I also, on my end, would like to, of course, thank you and the colleagues, Wendy, for helping us putting together with us this webinar. Also, I want to thank, of course, my colleagues, Sarah Kaiser, who's been actively collaborating and supporting this, all of the colleagues who are here today to present, and of course, the EMBO colleagues, Fiona who would also say a few words about EMBO, which I think is also a very nice, of course, opportunity for the community to understand how the two organizations are offering a really nice pipeline for success, I think. And from my perspective, the collaboration with Latvia has been extremely fruitful, has always been very, very on one side, focus on the success and, of course, the priorities that Latvia has and how EMBO can underpin them. And for me, today is just yet another opportunity to reach more people because Latvia became a full member state in 2023. So it's really reaching more people and giving them the confidence that EMBL is open and welcoming and would really like to see ever more Latvian scientists reaching out and collaborating with us. I have a few slides that I would like to maybe share now with everyone who is here. I will give a bit of a bigger picture, an introduction to EMBL, and won't really zoom into any of the topics because then we have colleagues who would speak to the services, to the training opportunities, to visiting opportunities. So I will just now give a bigger picture. So please let me know if you can see my screen in the appropriate format. Thank you,
Yeah,
Fiona.
it's a full screen now, and yeah, it's good. Yeah.
So maybe just a few words. I'm Plamena Markovan, and I'm the Chief of International Relations of EMBL, which of course this means my main mission here is to ensure that our member states are connected, are fully engaged with EMBL and support it, and that we can brainstorm and think about new opportunities to support life sciences. EMBL comes with 5 missions. It is a very, I would say, unique infrastructure and organization in this way. And all of these 5 missions are they're intrinsically connected. The first one you see is the delivery of excellent research. EMBL was created more than 50 years ago with the aim to bring back and keep here in Europe the talent and nurture it so that Europe has this incredible level of life sciences that we are very proud to say today we do. So excellent research, many research groups operating in various parts and fields of the life sciences. So I encourage everyone to have a look at our webpage, see where their collaborators may be and connect to them. We also deliver scientific services, which are open to the community of our member states. You see here some of the big numbers that are connected to some of the delivery of these services. You see close to 4,000 annual users of our experimental services. Most of them are here at the headquarters in Heidelberg, and Vladimir Benes will tell you more about that. We also have, of course, services for structural biology. I will say a few words about this, which are on our sites in Grenoble and Hamburg, where we make a large synchrotron facilities available to the life science community. And this really, however, probably the biggest and the most impressive services that we offer are the data services. And you see here 122 million. This is the daily web request to the EMBL EBI data services. EMBL EBI is the world's biggest biodata resource. I'll say a few words about it. It's EMBL's second biggest site, and it's located in the UK in Hingston near Cambridge. I am sure everyone is using these services, even if you don't know. They're a little bit like the electricity that we just assume it's there. We are also Europe's biggest training center for the life sciences, and we train both what we say internally, so we train PhD, postdoctoral fellows, we train really scientists at all career levels, and we offer a very big and diverse program of courses and conferences, which we very often actually co-develop with our EMBO colleagues. We are very also keen to ensure that the results of the research that we do then bring strong societal and economical benefit, of course, to our member states. So therefore, we engage in innovation and translation. And because we're intergovernmental and we bring 29 countries together, we have a mission, of course, to ensure that we integrate life sciences. And through events like today is one we do this. We are distributed, and you see here our 6 sites in 5 countries. And one message is that we belong to all of the countries that support us. These are our sites, but we are not under German law or under UK law or under Spanish law. We are an intergovernmental organization under international law with 1 personality, but with 6 sites in 5 countries. Headquarters in Heidelberg, the second biggest site, as I said, in Hingston, 2 smaller sites for structural biology in Grenoble and Hamburg, where we're co-located with large synchrotron facilities. In the case of Grenoble, this is the ESRF, and in the case of Hamburg, this is the German synchrotron DESY. We collaborate very closely with our partners on site. We have a smaller site also in Rome, focusing on epigenetics and neurobiology, and our newest site, the baby of the group, is the site in Barcelona, which was inaugurated in 2017 and focuses on research and service provision in tissue biology and disease modeling. So keep all of these sites in mind, because when we say EMBO wants to collaborate with you, all of the sites are open for this collaboration. Here you see the family of our member states. We are very proud to be able to say that we were created by 10 member states in 1974, but today we have close to 30 countries, and Latvia is one of our newest members, but a very active one. And you see here how many of the countries of Europe are members. And when I say Latvia is an active member state, I also want to evidence this. So you see, this is just a few highlights, but to show the intensity of our collaboration and also the breadth of the collaboration. So it's really from across the various fields of life sciences. You see here we have many successful projects. We are very actually welcoming the establishment of the National Contact Point, which is really incredibly useful and helpful for the community to understand the opportunities, work very closely with us so that the community actually has timely and updated information on what EMBO offers. And as Yanis pointed out, we are embarking on a very ambitious project, which is supported through the widening actions. This is a program under the European Union Framework Program for Research and Innovation. These projects are, the threshold to get one of these projects is quite high, so I think Latvia should be really proud. EMBL is an advanced partner in this project. We are now starting the preparatory work, and we will kick it off in 2027. The idea there is that we will help Latvia create an impressive center of excellence, building on what is already there, but also with the expertise of EMBL, and of course, together with other partners in the community. So we're very much looking forward to this. I mentioned that I would just give a very brief overview of some of the missions, going in a bit more depth. Here is the scientific services. Again, Vladimir will focus more on this, but my message is that if you think that you have a good project and you need a particular service, do think about EMBL, because the breadth of services we can offer is very, very large. So it's really quite probable that you could do your project in collaboration with EMBL, or you could rely on EMBO's infrastructure to get that edge. Here are some of the various services. Same with the training programs. Again, my colleagues, Brenda and Aditya, will speak more to that. But if you think about your next career steps, you want to do a PhD, you want to do a postdoc, you're interested perhaps more in understanding and working closer with core facilities, or you just want to learn more and build your network, scientific network. There are so many opportunities that EMBO has for the scientists of our member states. So please think about it and make sure to always check also with the national contact point that now is there and with us to ensure that you're up to speed. We are here. All of these are available, or the majority of them. You can do, for example, a PhD or a postdoctoral training at EMBO Heidelberg. But if your area of science is more aligned with the EMBO Barcelona one, then this could be the place for you. Innovation and translation, I just wanted to briefly, I mentioned this is one of our missions, and just to say that for us, fundamental research and innovation are not two extremes that don't come together. It's an ecosystem, and we support both the discovery and the entrepreneurial spirit. So I think this is very important, and not many places have been created with this logic of supporting the whole ecosystem. So you may be interested in fundamental research, and this is then EMBO is certainly the place for you, but you may also have some ideas that relate to new technologies, to spin-offs, and you have this innovation drive. I would argue EMBO is really still the place for you. And we can support the whole pathway from research to application. I also wanted to stress again how important the connectivity to our member states is for us. So coming to EMBL, of course, you come to an international organization, but you also have an opportunity to connect and to build your network across 29 countries and variety of other European infrastructures. And here I show just a few of them and how we are connected, because what we also think is a core mission of EMBL is to ensure that as we develop and as science and life sciences advance, the European science policy responds to that. So we often talk to the European Commission, to our partners in Brussels, to ensure that the voice of the life sciences is heard, and that whatever comes next in terms of regulation, in terms of policy, in terms of funding, is supporting the needs of the community. And I think the teaming application is one excellent example where a program that we've developed here at EMBL many, many decades ago, the partnership program, where we help national institutes mirror EMBL and adopt some of the standards of EMBL, is now a teaming initiative which is funded by the European Commission and funded also by member states. So these are important avenues for EMBL, allowing us to really build an ecosystem for the life sciences that is favorable also when it comes to policy and regulation. What is next for us, for EMBL? So when we think about the future, we think about our next program. We work on the basis of strategic scientific programs that are 5 years and that give the big direction of travel for EMBL and often for the member states. The next program will start in 2027, but one of its main pillars, and I think a horizontal component of this program, will be AI. This is not something I'm sure most of you are dealing with it. It's part of your daily life today. But for EMBL, it is also a strategic direction of travel for the life sciences. So we're very keen. We think we're very well positioned. And in general, the life sciences are a field that is truly well placed to capitalize on all the developments within AI. So here you see how we're thinking about it, and we're also now building up capacity and capability in AI. And I will stop here. I hope this was not too fast and not too broad. But again, my main point was to ensure that you all feel welcome and understanding what the opportunities at EMBL for you are. I'm happy, of course, to take questions. Any question, Yanis, if you think, or either now or, of course, later on, if someone would like to send me questions.
Yeah, I guess that everybody's really welcome to write or to ask the questions during the meeting. That's one thing, and I guess if there is no more question, we can proceed with the. Unfortunately, I don't have really the schedule in front of me. I hope Wendy can help me.
Yeah, next one is Fiona, EMBO director. So yeah, stage is yours now.
Thank you. I'll just share my screen and a few slides. If you can see those, okay?
So you can see it.
So like Plamina, I will run through opportunities that are available through Latvia's membership of our organization. And I think it's quite interesting to think a little bit about the history of the foundation of EMBO and EMBL. And it was really starting in the 1960s, the strong desire to promote science exchange and training throughout Europe, and also to build a European laboratory for molecular biology. And so EMBO, the organization that I run, was founded in 1964. Our initial funding came from a grant from the Volkswagen Foundation, but it became clear that to meet these really big goals, we were going to need to get buy-in from different countries. And that led in 1969 to the foundation of our funding body, which is called EMBC, the European Molecular Biology Conference. And 10 years after the foundation of EMBO, that goal of having a European laboratory was reached through the creation of the labs in Heidelberg. And as you've heard from Plamina, since then, the labs have gone from strength to strength, now in 6 sites and serving the whole of Europe. This is a slide which Plamina showed you, but mine is more, shows you the history of people joining. And we're all delighted that Latvia joined in 2023. And last year we were joined by Bulgaria. So it's a very interesting and inclusive and comprehensive community. So these are the countries that belong to EMBC. Most of them also belong to EMBL. And we also have some global partners. Several of these are EMBC associate member states, in particular India, Taiwan, and Singapore. And so these countries have a formal agreement with EMBC and participate in all of our programs. So that's really the context. What do we do? The bottom line is that EMBO does not fund infrastructures or laboratories. We're all about people and really doing everything we can to promote excellence in the life sciences. So I'll take you through some of these activities that we have. And I think first and foremost, EMBO is a membership organization. It's like the National Academy in the US or like the Royal Society in the UK or Leopoldina. So every year we announce that we are accepting nominations of our members to propose outstanding scientists anywhere in the world for election as an EMBO member. And if you are elected and you're in Europe, regardless of your nationality, you're a member. But if you're based outside of Europe, you're an associate member. Biggest number of associate members are in the US. Many are scientists with ties to Europe. And second after the US is Japan. So not surprisingly, we have a very illustrious membership. And I always joke that we don't charge a membership fee, but we do expect our EMBO members to work for us. And that is actually an important concept because we rely on our EMBO members to govern the organization, to form the committees that make decisions about funding, and to contribute in other ways, for example, shaping our policy. So really at the heart of everything we do, we have the EMBO members. We also celebrate excellent science in a number of different ways. And 2 of those are the EMBO Gold Medal. And this is awarded for scientists for their outstanding contributions to the life sciences in Europe. They can be from any nationality. And then we have, in partnership with FEBS, the Women in Science Award, where we celebrate women who are excellent scientists, but are also role models for the communities that they serve. So moving on from the membership election and from the awards that we make, we have a scheme that we're very proud of called the EMBO Young Investigator Network. And this has 3 different flavors: EMBO Young Investigators, Installation Grantees, and Global Investigators. And in the case of the young investigators and the global investigators, the annual competition selects people who will be showing that as independent scientists, they are making impact. So they will be either 4 or 6 years post-independence. And really, we give a small award to support their work, but it's really all about increasing visibility, amplifying the way they're recognized in the world, and by bringing them together in a network, giving them the skills and connections to really help them go forward as emerging leaders in the life sciences. I wanted to mention separately the installation grantees. This is a scheme which is available to a subset of our EMBC member states. And here the goal is on supporting scientists who have often returned to a country, or decided to make their careers in the country. And this is a more generous scheme because in addition to the funding that EMBO provides, the partner countries provide funding. And it means that over 5 years, these installation grantees get 50,000 euros. And I mention this because Latvia is not a member of the scheme, but Estonia and Lithuania are. And the numbers I'll show later show how successful that has been. So this is, when we select these people in the network, we're very confident that they are the future leaders of life science research. And it's really a pleasure to celebrate them and help them as best we can. That takes me on to the EMBO postdoctoral fellowships, and that's where actually most of our EMBC budget is spent. What we do is we fund early career postdocs. They have a 2-year contract, and we insist that as part of this, the scientist is changing countries. We provide a relocation allowance, and we bring our postdocs together through fellows meeting and providing leadership courses. Our postdocs are amazing. The bad news is that the competition for this summer just closed, and for the first time ever, we've hit about 2,000 applicants. It's just too many, and although our average success rate is about 13%, it's going to be dismally low this year. You will know, some of you, that the competition for Marie Curie fellowships is really intense at the moment. And all we can do is really try to make our applications as straightforward as possible and guide our committee members who make the decisions to invest in these amazing people, because like our young investigators, the postdocs are the future of research in Europe and around the world. Another scheme I wanted to draw your attention to is called Science Exchange Grants. These are often used by PhD students and postdocs, but they're available to anybody. And we fund for 1 week to 3 months. And the idea is to promote exchanges between labs in EMBC member states or our associate member states or cooperation partners. What we want here is to fund somebody to initiate a new collaboration. So we pay for travel costs and stipends. We're not interested in exchanges within a country or building on existing relationships. And the good thing about this scheme is that we make the awards throughout the year. I haven't checked this summer, but our ideal acceptance rate is about 50%. We're probably running at 40%. And when we survey people who've got our science exchange grants to see whether this has made a difference in their careers, it's really amazing how this has been useful for them for a number of different ways. And not just useful for the person who made the visit, but for the participating labs. So I'd really, really, really encourage anyone on the call who's interested to look into these exchange grants. Moving on to a completely different scheme, Maria Leptin, my predecessor, very generously funded a scheme for science journalism fellowships. And this is designed to provide support for a journalist who wants to get embedded in an institute or a lab to gain more expertise. And we have also funded 2 life scientists who wanted to make the transition into science journalism. And I think it won't be a surprise to any of you to know that conventional journalism is under threat worldwide, and science journalism is a really difficult occupation. And so by funding this group, we now have about 20 science journalists. They are able to get their stories out there, to support one another, and really to get the message of science messages into mainstream journals. So the call for this year's competition will open soon. If you know anyone who's interested, I would really encourage you to apply. That brings me on to another of our schemes, EMBO courses and conferences. We have a competition twice a year where you can apply to host a conference or a practical course. And we also have a joint EMBO EMBL symposia, which are held at EMBL. And we're interested in new ideas, new technical skills that people would like to develop. And we also have some long-running series where we can see how a topic has evolved. So please think about applying for one of these events. They're really, I'm a veteran of these courses and conferences. They're great. Next slide talks about EMBO Lab Leadership. This is run by our wholly owned company, EMBO Solutions. We've been running it now for over 20 years. People sometimes think this is telling you how to be a successful leader in getting ERC grants and getting your papers published in Nature. But it's not. It's about recognizing that we're all human beings and that running a successful lab requires skills and knowledge about human interactions. So we would highly recommend participating in this scheme. And we're very pleased that in partnership with EMBL, we've developed EMBO Advanced Lab Leadership. This was something that Edith Hurd was passionate about, and we worked initially with EMBL senior group leaders to roll this out. Now we've tried it out with the Young Investigator Network, and it will go live as well. And it won't surprise senior people on the call to discover that it's about reminding you you're human, but really giving you powers of negotiation, realizing how to negotiate up and down. So lab leadership, we would highly recommend too. I'm almost done, but I can't stop without telling you about our journals that we publish. We have 4 wholly owned, fully open access journals and 1 partnership with Cold Spring Harbor and Rockefeller University Press. And in all of the years of its existence, EMBO Press has been at the forefront in innovating in the way we share and promote science. And as part of our EMBO Open Science Initiative, we have a peer review platform that we call Review Commons, which is shown here. The idea here is that publishing a paper is not like an on-off switch or off-on switch. You start with a preprint, which you share, which attracts comments, and then you accumulate comments on the paper. And with those comments and your responses to it, you have the option to go to one of 29 partner journals. We're very active in the AI space, looking at AI agents, for example, which can review your paper before you submit it. So if you're interested in publishing in open science, we're very active in that space. Now, the last slide I want to show you is called EMBO and Latvia, and this is a kind of brain dump from EMBO about our connection so far. So we did have a visit to Latvia in 2023. That was Bettina Trub and Jeva Galite, who you can see also listed on the bottom of the slide and is on the call. When I looked in our databases, I'm really disappointed that we currently have no EMBO members and no young investigators. And comparing that with your Baltic partners, Lithuania has 3 EMBO members and Estonia has 5. So really and truly, please nominate great scientists who are in Latvia or Latvian, because we would really, if we don't receive any nominations, we can't elect members. In the Baltic states, we don't have any young investigators, but Lithuania has 5 installation, or historically has had 5 installation grantees, and Estonia has had 10. So please think about that scheme, because it's a really great way to bring scientists into Latvia and help them to be connected around Europe. We found only 1 application for an EMBO postdoctoral fellowship, so please apply for those. No applications for science exchange grants or courses and conferences. Please apply for those. We were delighted to discover that there's 1 professor who will be attending our lab leadership course in October. I was not going to name this person, but if you have a colleague who seems to be more self-confident in leadership after October, it might be that person. EMBO partners with FEBS to do, for example, the Women in Science Award, and the next FEBS Congress is in Riga next July. It's very likely that EMBO and our journals will have a presence there, so look out for us. And as I mentioned, Eva is Latvian. She's a senior scientific editor at the EMBO Journal. And really, if you have any questions about science publishing or open science, Eva would be delighted to help. So with that, thank you very much. And I'm really happy to take questions. I'll stop sharing.
Looks like we don't have any questions right now. Maybe in the end of the webinar. So maybe Vladimir Benes can continue.
Sure. So let me share my presentation. So hopefully things will go smoothly. All right. So do you see the presentation? Because now I lost kind of a bit of overview. Is it okay? Good. Thank you for letting me
Now
know.
we can see it, yes.
Good. So as Plan mentioned, now I'm Vladimir. I am head of Gene Core at the EMBL, and I'm going to present the presentation focus on core facilities in Heidelberg. But I start in a broader, maybe to follow up on what Plamena told, and then zoom in what is happening in Heidelberg. And as Plamena and also then Fiona encourage, please use the opportunities, use that space which is here for you, because this is ultimately also, I use the word useful for us, because with the samples coming from different users, different areas, we can get only better. All right, so again, this is one of the missions to provide. So of course, the key is to let's say this EMBL scientist, but not only. This is important that the visitors are cordially welcome, and of course from member states and prospect states included. Clear, and what I think is very important, that EMBL is striving really that it's providing to its users services cutting edge technologies. That is one of the hallmarks of the services. And of course, I am not able to cover every detail, but I think that maybe as a kind of effort that you can follow up by individual contacts or after our presentation. We are heavily involved, again, following up on delivering on another mission of EMBL, that provision of training, be internal but external. Core facilities are substantial organizers of many different courses which are running here, organized by EMBL or sponsored to large extent by EMBO. We are contributing to technology developments in collaboration with some industrial partners, and I hope I'll be able to give at least one vignette. But of course, foremost, there's a scientific objectives of EMBL is a maybe guiding principle. So because that's what also provides that base. Now, you have seen that, but it is not actually functioning in isolation. So data resources at EBI massive and impressive and very useful resource, imaging center, structural biology, and as I mentioned, I will focus now on core facilities, which are here in Heidelberg. As only before going that following up on previous slide, so EMBL EBI, structural biology and imaging, there are these 4 sites, multi-omics facilities in Heidelberg and EMBL Rome, chemical biology services Heidelberg, in vivo editing in EMBL Rome, and again, you can find more detailed information following that URL. So in Heidelberg, there are, okay, I am listing maybe those who have been traditional. There are 8 of them. I trust that their names are self-explanatory. If not, the next slide gives a more detail, but I think what is important also, that is evolving. So we have now 2 more additions to the family of core facilities. One is called microbial automation and culturomics, and mobile laboratory. And I will also give more details on that. It is, of course, providing access and support to specific technology and methods, analysis, data analysis assistance and training. There are altogether about 60 members of those core facilities, and we see maybe about 1,200 users per year and 400 external users coming from all over Europe. Here again, there are names of heads, and I think again, if there's interest, I certainly be happy to channel your inquiry to them, or you can, they are listed on the EMBL website. What I think is important to mention here to keep us on our toes and delivering on the message, core facilities are reviewed every 4 years as any scientific unit of EMBL. So, and of course, this is external review, keeps us, I would say, active and evolving towards, let's say, needs and what internal and external. So here, as I mentioned, names are hopefully self-explanatory what we are doing in a nutshell. Of course, genomics, it is about sequencing these days, next generation sequencing in all its facets, sample preparation, single base, single cell, spatial transcriptomics, proteomics, protein expression, metabolomics, light microscopy, electron microscopy, flow cytometry, and chemical biology, which is now rather on chemical synthesis. But the libraries which have been the asset of that, sorry, I just have this, yeah. So they are still maintained and in principle accessible. But there are these 2 new additions. There is a so-called mobile laboratory service, which is a core facility that we put that travels to the user. And this is truly an interdisciplinary facility to support. It was initially built as for the project called TRACK, which is actually environmental expedition along the European coastline. I am not sure now from top of my head if it let's say, visited also Latvia, but I know there was certainly in Estonia. The lab is, this is a truck which can expand sidewise and generates about 40 square meters of laboratory space. Oh, sorry, there was a timing. So it looks like this. This is truly the massive trailer, and that is mobile. And there are 4 different, I would say, activities which are somehow complementary, because there's and here are, let's say, the cultivation, imaging, sorting, omics, and also now sequencing with Oxford Nanopore, which is highly portable. And as I mentioned previously, the focus was on environmental type of studies, but these instruments are versatile enough that it can be repurposed for any project. It is by, I would say, application that truck will arrive, and then experiments can start with the technology available there. But there's a direct link to other services or core facilities in Heidelberg provided. The second addition is microbial automation and culturomics core facility. I think what is the most important is that this is literally a walk-in biology safety level 2 facility, which is of course focusing on microbial work. There's let's say high throughput cultivation, genetics and phenotyping studies. This is provided maybe this as a walk-in. This is training and access to automation. They are set up for establishing unique pipelines for studying the complex microbiomes in whatever setup you may desire. And of course, this is also resource distribution because they are able to provide, let's say, replicates of the collections of their strains for further analysis. But this is primarily truly walk-in, coming and visiting and working. The project should be specified upfront, of course, but it is the goal. Now, let me give you also insight how things are done, just that you have an idea. Of course, there is access to technology core facilities. This is imaging, maybe also flow cytometry, because there's these days imaging flow cytometry possible, and what type of service or how it's done. So this is primarily users are processing their own samples. As I stated here, they carry out their experiments under supervision or guidance or both of the staff. Or we have the service-based core facilities, which are listed here. And of course, we are also teaching, but ultimately we are processing samples of our colleagues. Then the access model, I would say here it's very clear. This is book for the first type. This is competitive booking by users. Again, visitors, internal, external. So there are instruments when they can use. So they need to be some law and order. So therefore, by booking for us, there are first come, first serve, primarily principle in approaching the sample queue. And we are, of course, also I think, involved in many special projects, which are mostly coming with samples which are challenging, being low input, being maybe compromised quality, and so on and so forth. But that's something we can discuss. As I mentioned, please, I will be happy to relay your inquiry to my colleagues, or there are ways to approach it on a way. What is important for you to notice that every core facility is, let's say, recovering the cost of reagents, consumables, and whatever is necessary from user fees. They cover these components, but ultimately, I think it's EMBL is subsidizing those activities, and this is coming from the general budget to which Latvia is also contributing. So, of course, equipment, staff, infrastructure, overhead, and so on and so forth are not included in those user fees. Let me do two examples on this development of cross facilities workflows, which we are simply trying to capitalize on that expertise which is around. So here, this identification of phenotypes in the advanced light microscopy facility, which of course is that unique possibility to work on living specimens. Then these phenotypic screens can be then further specified or narrowed down by flow cytometry, and then the sample can come, in this case, for single cell analysis to gene core. It can be also proteomic core facilities, but it's just that you get a flavor that we really try to work synergistically, not just an isolated core facility. I mentioned this collaboration with industry. So usually this is how it starts as an interaction. We are, of course, exposed to the industrial partners and colleagues because we are using technology. So there's a user need, facility expertise, partner happy to provide the technology, the scouting events by seminar. And if there's no need, no demand, then it stops. If it continues, then if it's possible to provide, let's say, the instrument to the facility, then it's tested because we are having really the control over that. Again, there's a stop point and there's a service to users which can develop in that way. Of course, there's a continuous interaction in both directions, let's say to the technology or to industry or facility, because it's also the companies benefit from having that feedback about that utility and limitations and so on and so forth. And it has resulted in several, I think, very productive interactions with the companies which are frequently leaders in their field. Last but not least, I think it's for that exchange and openness of, let's say, interaction with our colleagues in member states. This is very particular, this Christian Boulin Fellowship. This is something what should facilitate the interaction or visits of people from member and prospect states to core facilities in particular. This is, let's say, sponsored by a corporate partnership program, and this up to 1,500 euro each, which covers, let's say, allowance and travel expenses, not the research. What is important, the application is very lean and very swift. There is a rolling application, there's no deadline. It requires a very, I would say, light administration. Needs to be, let's say, application 1-2 pages max, letter of support of the PI, and then endorsement of the respective core facility head. And there's this scientific sabbatical program, which is, let's say, on different category, but I think that maybe we can discuss in conversation. Okay, thank you very much for your attention. And again, I think for the sake of time, let's maybe cover the rest, and then we have time to discuss generally. I see Aditya is already there, so over to him. Okay.
Thank you.
Unless there's some burning question from our colleagues.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you. My name is Aditya, and I'm working in EMBL's visitor program and leading activities. Already Vladimir nicely left it as a good link. So the visitor program at EMBL basically has a mission to promote high quality training and exchange opportunities at EMBL. And we provide organizational guidance and to both prospective visitors and hosts internally at EMBL, with the idea we want to facilitate new knowledge exchange at EMBL and enrich EMBL's activities. And we also do a part of this through developing and delivering some fellowship schemes funded through EMBL and corporate partners to our visitors. Just as Vladimir just mentioned, and we just recently concluded a 4-year review, and as part of the visitor program, or generally visitors who come to EMBL, EMBL has welcomed close to 3,000 scientific visitors and trainees in the past 4 years, and a majority of these visitors come from our member states, close to 70%, and there is a very strong spread of countries that they come from, and also their own nationalities. And in terms of fellowship activities, we have managed to grow and build the portfolio of fellowships, which cover and address specific priority areas for EMBL, as well as career levels in terms of scientists we target. And I will speak a bit more. A few are mentioned here below, but I'll go a bit deeper on those in a minute. And just why someone should consider a scientific visit to EMBL is very clear, that they have access to being mentored by scientific leaders and emerging scientific leaders. And there is an open and global scientific culture. They can learn of how colleagues across the world might think about the same scientific problem. And There is also great opportunities to gain knowledge because EMBL has a very strong course and conference program, but particularly the conferences, they can be accessed cost-free as a visitor. If they are in Heidelberg, they can do so via a day pass where they can attend talks. But if they are based at any of the other EMBL sites, they can access this for free through a virtual pass. And based on wherever the visitor is based across EMBL, there is weekly seminar series which are hybrid by nature. So there is a lot of opportunities to learn what other teams at EMBL are doing. And this is a great way to bring them up to speed on what is happening across the world of life science research, even through a short stay. Interesting to learn is EMBL has now developed and released a training catalog, which is very many of these trainings are open and freely accessible by scientists across the world. And there are some professional development training activities that are first offered to staff at EMBL. But if these are unfilled, visitors have the chance to be registered on such trainings in a queue process. And this can be also very valuable if they get the chance to do it. And of course, often there are many local career fairs and webinars, which if they are on site, they are welcome to attend and get to know of future career opportunities, both inside and outside academia. In terms of numbers, just in 2025, EMBL welcomed 823 visitors, and they covered across career levels from master students and bachelor students and trainees, all the way to visiting group leaders who came on sabbaticals, and the number has been consistent that majority of them are based in our member states, even if their nationalities may be non-member states as well. And like I just mentioned, EMBL welcomes people across the career spectrum, and primarily when we survey them, we find that the strongest motivations are, of course, to conduct research in collaborations and or access state-of-the-art equipment that are present in EMBL's core facilities, and also build strong career networks. And these are strong motivators for people to come to EMBL. And the procedure is often straightforward. They first should and always contact the relevant group or team leader that they wish to visit, and align on time availability, scope of the visit, and how space and resources can be shared while they're here. And once they do that, there is no specific time on when they should enter or exit EMBL. So this is done in an ongoing basis, and people stay as short as a week to sometimes as long as a year or 2 years. So this is really flexible at EMBL. And I just want to quickly highlight, in the time I have, a bit deeper on the training activities we have offered through the program. For example, firstly, starting from the lowest career level, which is the bachelor and master students. Last year in summer, EMBL, of course, has a rich history and technology innovation. So we launched an internship program, which is basically a curated list of projects that are hosted by EMBL's technology development oriented research groups and teams. And this is seeking talent that is not traditionally in biology, but might be engineers or data scientists or computer scientists who want to apply their knowledge in a life science research setting. And so these are often projects that are cutting across engineering, software, and instrument innovation. And since launching, we have onboarded about 8 interns. And we currently have about 12 projects that are live and accepting applications. So if you do have a background that is allied to biology, but not traditional biology, look at this, definitely. And another program that has been a strong feature of EMBL's ongoing research program has been the Theory at EMBL, where the goal was to promote interdisciplinary research, integrating theory and mathematical modeling into experimental molecular biology research. And they also offer short-term or long-term visitor fellowships, which can be The only condition has to be theory or modeling oriented and not involve hands-on experimental work. And they really cover career levels from providing stipends to interns and trainees all the way to providing funding for group leaders who want to come on short visits or sabbaticals. And since launch, they have awarded 39 such fellowships. And EMBL's corporate partnership program, which funds the Christian Boulan Fellowship, which Vladimir highlighted, also fund another scheme, which is a mobility grant similar to the EMBO scientific exchange grants, which Fiona mentioned, is to allow for PhD and postdocs based anywhere in the world to come and visit EMBL on an exchange. And it does prioritize first-time visitors to EMBL, and as also prioritizes first connections for the EMBL research group. And we accept applications throughout the year because we review them 4 times over the year. And you can, since launch, you get up to 44 awardees have benefited from the scheme, and you can get up to 4,000 euros per award. And this has been instrumental for many people to advance in their careers, as seen from the feedback. And the sabbatical visitor fellowships has been a new scheme that was launched during this current program in 2023. The idea was to bring senior scientists and group leaders into contact with EMBL's research community on sabbatical leave to spend any time between 3 and 12 months at any EMBL site. And the idea was to promote cross-fertilization of knowledge and also use their knowledge to mentor our community in areas that EMBL doesn't have traditional strengths in. And how this is done is through an annual call. We take 2 calls a year actually, and we provide up to 15,000 euros in support towards the travel and accommodation costs of the visiting faculty. And since launching in 2023, 15 sabbaticals have already taken place or are taking place, and we also expect 1 more to start in the next months. And what's also pleasing to see is the length of time we see for sabbaticals has progressively increased, and currently is around 6 months on average that professors spend at EMBL full time. And during this time, we also promote them to visit other EMBL sites to strengthen networks. And since Vladimir already mentioned the Christian Boulan Fellowships, I will not go a bit deeper in that, but it's also an excellent scheme to get funding for a targeted visit to our core facility. So I really encourage you to take advantage of this. And with this, I would just stop, and also in the interest of time, and can take questions now or later.
Thank you. Right now in the chat, we don't have any questions, but maybe now Brenda can continue. And then I remind the participants that you can ask questions in the chat, and in the end, we will have time for questions and discussion, and then you will get the answers. Okay, thank you, Brenda.
Hi, good morning, everybody. It's really a pleasure to have the opportunity to speak to you today about training opportunities for early career researchers at EMBL. So EMBL has a dedicated unit specifically for training. This is the EMBL International Center for Advanced Training, which both myself and Aditya are part of. So I'm specifically part of the internal training team, and that's what I'm going to focus on today, telling you about opportunities for PhD and postdoctoral students. But in addition to our arm of ICAD, Aditya's from external training, which is responsible for the course and conference program and a visitor program. And we also have colleagues from the Science Education and Public Engagement arm of ICAD who are responsible for early learning and teaching. So this is the age range of 10 to 18 and EMBL's public engagement strategy. So I'll start with EMBL's PhD program. It was one of the first established PhD programs in continental Europe. We have a student body that we're responsible for of approximately 224 students at any one time. It fluctuates a little bit. They're coming from over 50 different countries. We recruit internationally into our programs, and they work across all of EMBL's sites in our research groups there. EMBL does have the right to award its own PhD degree, but we always do so in conjunction with another university. So our students can register with one of our partner universities, which are the majority of which are located in one of the countries that EMBL is based in, or they can also register with another European university of their choice. They then have a dedicated training curriculum, mentoring, support, and early independence options during their time as PhD students with us. So how can you join us as a PhD student? We have 2 calls per year, a winter and a summer recruitment. They are quite competitive. So in one call, we're getting over 1,800 applications now. After the call closes, we have a 2-step evaluation. So eligible applications are reviewed by EMBL faculty. And then the recruiting group leaders can do pre-screening of long-listed candidates. This is used to establish a short list for panel interviews. The panel interviews take place by Zoom, and candidates are then interviewed by a panel of 2 to 3 group leaders and sometimes a senior EMBL postdoc. And offers are then based on mutual interest. So to be eligible, as I mentioned, we recruit globally into the program. To be eligible, you have to have the degree that would allow you to start a PhD in the country in which you are a national or currently studying. You need 2 academic reference letters. You complete then an online application via a platform that will ask for your academic background and certificates, research experience, scientific interests, and we also have an essay on scientific reading habits. If you are invited for a panel interview, it is a pass-fail interview. What the panel members are looking for is your specialist and general knowledge. So the specialist refers to your educational background. They're looking for logical thinking and creativity, as well as your motivation for joining us. If you pass the interview and are invited to the next step, it takes place at one of the EMBL sites, depending on where you're invited to interview. And then you would spend some time meeting all the recruiting group leaders in the unit that you're interested in and their groups. And at the end of this process, all of the candidates put forward a ranked list of the groups they're interested in, and the group leaders do the same on their side, and then we make matches. So this schematic just shows the timeline of our PhD program. It is a 4-year program, meaning that we aim that our students submit and defend by the end of the 4th year. They then can stay with us for an additional 6 months, provided that there's funding available from the group leader as a bridging postdoc. And this is really time to finish up projects, to publish, and to move to next positions. In terms of academic requirements, all of our students have a thesis advisory committee that they meet with on an annual basis or more often, depending on what type of support is needed. In addition to this, we as a program have a number of courses that our PhD students complete. The first is a course that brings all new PhD students together, regardless of the EMBL site at which they will be based. And they complete a 7-week training course with us that covers many of the aspects of the research that we do at EMBL, as well as how we do research. There is a computational biology course in the 2nd year of the PhD program. And then we have career development workshops in the 3rd and 4th year to really support people as they prepare to make a transition out of EMBL and to a next position. In addition to this, we have a wide range of optional activities for our fellows to get involved in, as well as other trainings. This includes being a member of one of EMBL's many committees to make sure that our PhD voices are heard. We have a very vibrant seminar course and conference program. There's an annual symposium that is organized by our PhD students, and there is a retreat every second year. This slide just shows some of the key performance indicators for the programs. It currently takes a little bit over the 4 years that we typically allow for the PhD, so it's still at about 4.1 years. This is due to delays caused by the pandemic. We have a high completion rate, so 96% of the students who begin with us complete their PhD, and they have on average 1.2 first author papers related to their work at EMBL. We know quite a bit about what our PhDs go on to do from a detailed career tracking study that was carried out by one of our career advisors. If we look at just the fellows who left in the last 4 years, 69% of them moved into a next position in academia, and this was followed by research positions in industry. Now I'll tell you a little bit about our postdoctoral program. So in contrast to the PhD program, we don't have a centralized recruitment for the postdoc program. So there's many different ways you can join us as a postdoc. You can directly get in touch with one of our group leaders, and if there's mutual interest, group leaders can take people on their own funding. This is usually third-party funding, or support them to apply for personal merit fellowships. We also have 2 pan-EMBL fellowship programs that I'll be telling you more about. Our postdocs can stay with us for a maximum of 5 years, provided that there is funding available. And we provide then a series of training, mentoring opportunities, and more to help support the development of our postdocs. So I'd like to talk just briefly about two of our 2 pan-EMBL fellowship programs. We have received financial support from the European Commission's co-fund program for both of these fellowship programs. So for iPod, we received a contribution from the Commission of close to 10 million euros, which will allow us to recruit and train 57 fellows. This fellowship is really very much for fellows who are interested in interdisciplinary research and who would like to work on projects that are related to exploring life in context. And I'll say a bit more about that on the upcoming slides. Then we have a very complementary program also supported by the Commission. Here we have a contribution of 7.1 million euros in grant funding, which together with funds from EMBL will allow us to recruit and train 50 fellows. This program is really targeting STEM professionals who would like to use their skill sets to support the development or improvement of technologies for the life sciences. And we're really looking for people who would also be interested to moving into research infrastructures following their time and training in the program. So if we focus first on the iPod program, the largest part of the application to this program is the development of a research project. The project has to involve an EMBL host, as well as a partner from one of our member states, prospect member states, or associate member states. The partner can come from different sectors, so academia, industry, or a clinic. And the fellow is expected to spend part of their 3-year fellowship in the external lab. They must spend a minimum of 3 months in the 3-year fellowship, but they could spend up to 1 year in total. In terms of the condition, we recruit internationally into the program. The fellows will receive a 3-year contract with full social securities, including a pension and unemployment insurance. We have funding available to visit the partner lab on the project if they're in a different geographical location than the EMBL host. And the fellowship comes with a dedicated training, career development package, and conference funding. So the second call for this program will be opening in November 2026. This program, the iPod program, is a long-running program at EMBL. We've had different versions over the years. The newest version is really is called iPod Link, Exploring Life in Context. And maybe I can just highlight a couple of the new features that we're quite excited about. The fellows that are part of this program will have the opportunity to choose between either doing a workshop on innovation, which will be carried out by CERN's Idea Square. And this workshop, it will be a 1-week workshop that will take place directly at CERN and involve our fellows working together with fellows with very, very different backgrounds on different projects. The second possibility is to complete a 1-week science policy workshop. We see that in the fellow community, there's more and more interest from our fellow community to know more about science policy and how they can get involved. This is a new workshop that we are developing with EMBL's International Relations and UNESCO. And we hope that this will then, if it's successful, we will then offer it to all the fellows at EMBL. So now to change gears a little bit, I'll talk about the Arise to Fellowship program. As I mentioned, this is really a program for technology developers who have the ambition to eventually move into research infrastructures after their time with us at EMBL. This schematic shows at a high level how we've set up the program. So in terms of research experience, to apply for the program, applicants put forward the development of a new technology or the improvement of an existing one as the project that they would work on in 3 years. And they complete this project during their fellowship, and this is linked to also completing secondments at academic or industry collaborators. This is paired to completion of a training program, which really focuses on the competencies needed to move into leadership positions in research infrastructures. I'll say a few more words about the training. It's based on the first version of the Arise program that we offered. The courses that were developed in that program have been further reviewed and developed by training professionals from the research infrastructure sector, both within EMBL and externally, as well as the feedback we received from the first cohort of fellows. And so you see here listed on the left-hand side an overview of the main topics that the fellows will complete training in. It covers everything from research infrastructure management, management of people and projects, and more. In addition to this, they will complete a 1-week summer school that covers more advanced topics on research infrastructures. And we're doing this work together with RI Capacity as an implementing partner. The fellowship conditions for this program are the fellowship is open to all nationals. Our fellows will receive 3-year contracts with full social securities. The fellowship will come with training and career development support, and we have a call that is currently open. So this may be interesting for some of you. If it is, please just reach out to us. This call will close on the 30th of September. So I'm going to try to speed up a little bit so I make sure that there is some time for questions. I just wanted to say, regardless of how our postdocs join us and what funding they are on, they're all part of a postdoctoral program in which we have multiple support mechanisms to really make sure our fellows make the most of their time while they are with us. This includes training guidelines, a second mentor program, and more. We also offer many training opportunities. I'm going to show some on the upcoming slide. The seminar and course and conference opportunities for them, including opportunities to present their own research and more. And then I wanted to really just finish up with 2 what I think are very important slides. We have 2 programs for EMBL's PhD and postdoctoral community. The first one is the EMBL Fellows Complementary Skills Program, which provides a wide range of courses free of charge to our fellow community. These are courses covering scientific and interpersonal skills, project management, including the EMBL Lab Leadership course, and more. We set the schedule based on the training needs of our fellows, so we survey the community as we're putting our program together. And the courses are offered by a mixture of in-house and external experts. And we also have a dedicated career service here. We have 2 career advisors, both of whom have a scientific background. They provide individual support for our fellow community, for fellows who may not know what they would like to do next. Importantly, they will also review application material for fellows who are starting to apply for positions. They've developed a wide range of workshops that they offer to our fellows. It covers everything from applying for industry, applying to academic workshops, and more. And they also offer events that are open to the entire scientific community. They have developed a number of resources related to career development for life sciences. These are completely open access to anybody from the scientific community who is interested. And I will just finish up with a thank you. This is a picture of the internal training team. We've had some turnover, so there are a few new people that are not shown here. We are under the direction of Monica Lachner, who is the head of internal training, as well as the head of ICAD and the Dean of Graduate Studies. You can see the contact emails here if you'd like to get in touch with us. But of course, I'm also happy to answer any questions you have today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brenda. Now it is time for questions and discussion. So if anybody has any questions, you can ask them now. In the chat, there are no questions. It looks like yeah, everything was clear. Everyone understood everything, and we can finish.
And I also would like to, first of all, I would like to thank all the speakers, and I think that was really clear presentations, and I think everybody got this information now to process and potentially think of applying for different fellowships or also for visits. And I would like to remind that in our contact point kind of conditions, there are possibility to get funding for these visits. Unfortunately, what we can't, and this is still, we continue discussions with the ministry to kind of find a way to provide this support also for visiting different courses and so on. But at this stage, this is not possible. So basically, but research visits are open. So if anybody can contact and find these partners at the EMBL and arrange the visit, then we also can support it financially from the contact point. This is for all Latvian partners here and institutions, something to take into account, and we can use these funds to do that. Okay. And I see that still no more questions. So, but okay, I guess really thanks once again. Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye,
Nice to
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you,
nice day.
Bye.
everybody.
Have a nice day and summer. Bye.
You as well. Ciao.